And welcome to the Monday Mastermind, or as you Americans like to say, the Monday Mastermind. Is really, really weird because every now and then I catch myself going in and out of American accents. And sometimes I honestly have no idea what I should say because I know the words coming up, but I'm kind of like dabbling on which way to go. But, ultimately, I'm going to try and be my true self. But ultimately, I do it because I want to relate to as many people as possible. So that's why I slip in and out of accents. But that aside, we are glad that you made it. We're glad that you are here. We are so glad that you are a part of this hour that we're going to have. We've got a really cool hangout that we're going to share with you, and we are going to be getting into it soon. But before I share something with everybody quickly, before we get on to the main event, I just wanted to go ahead and introduce the panel. We have Pops over there, who's the first person that I see on my left, and that is Pops. And we're not really sure if Pops has a chin or not because he's got that big beard, which is really, really cool. Pops, is it my imagination or is it getting whiter?
Nope, it's not your imagination. It's getting whiter. 65 and counting. And it's probably either going to get whiter or start falling out. I don't know what'll come first. So, and either way is all right. Whatever happens, happens.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I always say that the whiter the beard, the more wise you become. So I've got, I got something there at least. And then, of course, we've got a brand new person on the panel because honestly, I could not even recognize this person if he walked past me. He looked so different today. And we have Mr. Jamie Shaw. Jamie is sporting, it looks like he had a fight with a lawnmower and the lawnmower won.
It didn't. No, it's a weed eater and it won.
Weed whacker. Hey, Jamie.
Actually, it was getting bushy, be a pain in that butt, and it was getting itchy, so I decided to whack it off. Besides, my wife don't like it anyway. It was for deer hunting, so I always shave it off during the springtime anyway. But so I had a pretty interesting weekend because my son-in-law's sewer pipe blew up, so we're trying to fix that with all the cold. And yesterday overnight we got like 4 inches of snow, so it was an interesting drive to work today. And then tonight it's like -10 with a wind chill, so it's pretty blistery out there. So it's been a pretty interesting weekend. So, but I'm working on a new web design. That's why I've been kind of quiet here lately, and I got it all loaded up. Now it's time to start editing. So cool.
Awesome, man. And we are glad to have you back, Jamie, because we had this other person on and we were like, whoa, where'd Jamie go? But now we have you here. We're refreshed, looking all groomed. I was just saying earlier that if Jamie shaved his mustache off and turned himself upside down, we'd probably recognize him. But no, I'm just playing with you, Jamie. We love you the way you are, and that's cool to have you here, man. And before I go on to this next person on the panel, I've got to say that if she could, she would wear jammies her entire life. That's how laid back Kati on stage is. And I'm going to let Kati speak right now because I know she's got a lot to say, and we're very excited to hear what Kati's got to say. And I'm repeating myself. Why am I repeating myself? I don't know. But anyway, let me share something with you guys that I've currently been very aware of lately, and I wanted to share with everybody on that's watching this hangout. And I noticed that we have, let's see who's joined us today. So we have Maria, we have Robert, we've got Jamie on there as well, and we got Pops, and we've got a whole bunch of people. If you are there, please let us know so we can give you a shout out. And I know that Shamila is going to be joining us soon. If you're not, Shamila, hope you're doing well. I wanted to share something with you guys, and if you ever have encountered this type of conversation, give me a 1 in the comments. I would really appreciate this. Just give me a 1 if you have been in this conversation before, or you've noted this conversation before. But have you ever been in a conversation where you feel like you're chatting about one subject and the person that you're talking to doesn't hear you at all, or when they do respond, they completely ignore what you say and they just carry on to the next subject like you never even said anything. And that for me is one of the most irritating places to be, when nobody's actually listening to what you have to say. I mean, I knew a guy that was hard of hearing, and whenever I called this guy on the phone, it was Len, and he was a plumber, still is a plumber, but he's lost his hearing. And it was so frustrating calling him, because I would say, "Hey Len, I'm over here at your house, can you come meet me?" And he would say, "No, they're in the back ready to ship off." And the conversation was completely disjointed. I had no idea what was going on. And sometimes we're in those conversations. And what I wanted to do, just as an exercise, is to see, because it might be that you're not actually hearing this conversation because maybe you're actually the person that's not listening. What I want you to try and do is to try and see if you are actually engaging with a person. It's a very interesting exercise to do, to be a person who is listening to somebody else and actually responding by nodding your head or adding to the conversation. It's very frustrating and very, very annoying when you're speaking to somebody and they don't actually listen to you. I mean, it's quite an ordeal, and I wanted to give you guys that bit of exercise. Maybe go through the week and listen and see what's going on, because I'm telling you, you'll be surprised how many people either don't listen to what you're saying, or you'll probably find that you're the person not contributing to that conversation. It can be very, very annoying for the other person. What can happen as a result is that you will get people that will come to you more often because you're somebody who listens to them, and that can just help your life. But enough said. I have rambled on for a bit because I know that Katie's all excited about what she's going to share today. And let me just say, first of all, that I've known Katie for about, I think, 3 years now, Katie. We've known each other for about 3 years. Is that right? Just
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay, so it has been about 3 years that I've known Katie. I'm fairly certain I know that much. And
you know why she asked that question, why she said that, Dave? Because she didn't hear the question because she wasn't paying attention. That was the first thing that came up for him.
Okay, all right. Now, whoa, burn. You better turn your back, Katie. I think the knife's not deep enough. Anyway, but I've known Katie for about 3 years. And when I first met Katie, that was, I think I met Katie through Pat. Is that correct? We met through Pat Patterson.
Yes.
And
yes,
I've got to say, yes, okay, great. You're reading the script that I gave you? All right, cool. So I got to know Katie and we teamed up as business partners. And I got to say, a roller coaster ride between the two of us. She has grown in so many ways. And honestly, when she put the pedal on the gas, was, we like to say, petrol, in her business, things really started to soar and take off. And what Katie is going to be doing today is she's going to be sharing her story with you on how she got started early on, because she's got quite a history she's been through. And I've never known anyone to do 31 jobs in 17 years. Honestly, I don't think I've managed to do that many jobs, but that's quite a record set. And I think it's indicative of the type of mindset that she actually had when she first got started. But I'm not gonna tell her story for her. I want her to share with us, because I do believe that when you hear these stories, they are great inspiration for yourself, because you're probably feeling, hell, why should I be listening to this? And the real reason is that you are just like Katie. You know, you might be in a position just like Katie. And what she's going to share with you today is something that you could possibly relate to and probably latch onto. So, Katie, without any further ado, I'm going to throw the studio all the way over to you so that you can take it away. The floor is yours.
Perfect. But before I do that, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom and then go ahead and take over Dave for a little bit. And no, I'm kidding. Okay, so before we even started this hangout, I was not looking forward to this at all. I just love listening to other people's stories. I love stories. I can't get enough of them. But when it comes to me telling my story, I become very uncomfortable. I have to drink coffee. And so what I have to do is I have to come out of my comfort zone and start talking about myself, which I hate doing. I absolutely hate doing. I love talking about other people, but I hate talking about me. So what Dave did before this hangout, I'm going to have to go ahead and tell you how mean he is. After 3 years, I can't believe he is actually this rude, where he says that he sent out, he says, it's too late, Katie. You're going to have to tell your story because I just sent my email out to 4,000 people. And, you know, I have to tell you, it doesn't, this one's on you, Dave. Okay. Because I don't care how many people there are. There could be like 60,000 people or one person. I'm still going to hate telling my story. So the amount of people doesn't really make me uncomfortable. I actually don't mind because I've been doing video marketing for a long time, and this is what Dave taught me. So I'm very comfortable at talking about anything and everything but myself. I absolutely hate it. And now why is that? I actually don't know. So if anybody feels that same way and you kind of feel that you just hate talking about yourself, please put it in the comments down below. Because really, I want to know if you're listening. So let's put a secret code, like maybe this is really wine in Katie's cup and not coffee. But anyway, just to make myself feel comfortable, that's all. It's nothing really. But there's something about talking about yourself when you have to connect with people. In this industry, it's so important, and I know that. And in almost 5 years that I've been in this industry, Dave, you've known me for 3 years. Dad, you've known me all my life, so you really don't count. But Jamie, you've known me for 3 years or whatever. How many times have you guys, you know, Maria, how many times have you guys heard me tell my story? Not often enough. However, the way that you guys connect with me, even Bob, you know, we have a lot of fun because you guys know that I love chocolate, you know, I love coffee, and now you know that I have to have a little bit of wine when I got to talk about myself, so that's okay. But let me just backpedal a little bit and just tell you the kind of person that I am real quick is that I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. So this could be interesting, it could be boring, it could be awkward, and that's okay. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and backpedal a little bit. I want to tell you about we used to live like 4 blocks away from the library. So my parents would make us go to the library to go read. Unbeknownst to them, I didn't go and read to brighten my skills and to get a higher education and learn something, you know, brilliant. I actually read Garfield comics all the time. That's all I did. I just got hooked, and I was in a fall. I'm even wearing my Garfield PJs right now. So, I mean, I've just been a fan forever. So I think what was happening is I was starting to become this person that always looked for humor in order to make myself feel more comfortable. And people relate to that a lot because what I love to do is I love to remind that we're all equal, that we all have some kind of a common something, right? Like coffee. We all love coffee. I mean, most of us, right? Some of us like wine. Maria and I, we love wine. Oh yeah, Pops. My first email was Garfield's #1 fan. I still have it. So anyways, I like to relate to people with something that we can connect with. And the biggest mistake that I've made in this industry is not being able to connect with my audience in a way where I can show them exactly how they could, if they wanted to quit their job and have their own business. Because actually that's what this whole industry has, this era has turned into, where people can be their own boss, right? So my part of my story that I should be telling more is the 31 jobs in 17 years. And I don't say it enough. I absolutely don't say it enough. So actually, I'm going to go to the comments right now. Dad, I know that I want you to say something real quick, Dad. how many jobs have you had? Because we sat and counted, and I'll mute for a second, but do you remember how many you've had before you went to the post office?
Well, I beat you in the number of jobs, but not in the years. So I've had more jobs. Some of them were in the same industry, but I was working for other people in the same industry. A lot of it was truck driving, but it took me longer to accomplish that than Katie's 17 years.
Seriously. And what's really funny is that I thought I had just related in that aspect of 31 jobs in 17 years. My dad had like 40 some odd jobs before he hit the post office. I thought he was the only one that related to me. And then I went and jumped out of my comfort zone this year and started, and I told myself that I'm going to start telling a little bit more about me little by little by little by little. So I started with something that I've already shared before, which is the 31 jobs in 17 years. And I get a friend request from this guy. And what happened is that he reached out to me and he says, "Oh my gosh, I've had 37 jobs in like 17 years. I'm like, whoa. And he is actually doing the exact same thing that he wants, or that we're doing something together where we're still building something where we cannot have to rely on a job. And wait, what's so funny? You giggled. Okay.
Bob.
Oh, you're laughing at Bob.
I'm not present with you.
Oh, Dad's not present with me. He just had a lot of stuff. And I think David's gone too. So this is not going well, is it? So anyways, what's really cool, the point is that I'm making right now is I told a part of my story recently and someone reached out to me and had the same similar amount of jobs. It was insane. I'm like, how many more people are out there like that? So if you guys remember, if you guys had like obscene amounts of jobs or something, just let me know in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, because that's pretty important too, just comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and comment below, or if you're watching this on the 24-hour Mastermind replay page, just throw it in the comments because we'll see it. Excuse me, I have to burp. Okay. All right. So let me tell you about my 31 jobs in 17 years. Why did I have 31 jobs in 17 years, and what the hell happened? And was I a shitty worker? Was I like really a bad employee? But no, I actually wasn't. I was actually the ideal employee, where I was always on time, or actually early, always early. And I never called in sick. And I knew that if I missed a day, that I missed a pay, right? So I never wanted to miss a day. So I always worked, and I always did overtime and all this other stuff. So I was the ideal employee. But why did I do 31 jobs in 17 years? Well, I got bored really fast, which is just kind of my personality. So, and I never went to college. So I always did all entry level jobs. It was really simple jobs that I had to decide whether I wanted to stay at a particular place and want to do full time. And I could not see myself spending the rest of my life in just one place and doing one job. That sucks. That I didn't want to do it. So what I did is I always try to find something different, because I didn't know that the online, making money online and creating your own business online and creating a product or a service and selling it online, right? I didn't know that existed. I had no idea, zero. The only thing I knew how to do was open my email and send my resume. So what had happened is that when I was going through jobs and I was trying to find my place, I felt like I didn't fit anywhere, right? So I go to job, I go to a different job. What else can I do? What else can I do? This is boring. Okay, I figured this out in like 3 months. Now I'm going to go to this other job, and I put my 2 weeks in. Actually several people hired me back, and that's part of the 31 jobs, right? Okay. They hired me back because I'm such a good worker. So some people ask me, they're like, well, if you had 31 jobs in 17 years and you send in your resume How did that look when they looked at your resume? How would they hire you? Well, first of all, I did the references, and they probably did the calls, and they probably told them that, yeah, she's an amazing worker. You probably should hire her. But also I had all this track record of not staying, but still they hired me. And I have no idea how they did that. You know, if I actually owned in a place, I wouldn't want to spend my money and know that they're going to be staying there for like 3 months. So, but the point is that they hired me. And so what happened is that 17 years I went through this trying to find my purpose. I was just day in, day out, just not living, right? I was just like, this can't be just it, right? So one day I was looking for another job, and I was looking online, and I was searching, and I was searching. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Did that. Don't want to do that. Did that. No, thank you. My dad calls me, right? And he says, you got to check this out. Okay, whatever. And so he showed me something that was an opportunity online to sell a product as an affiliate. And I had no clue what the word affiliate meant at all. I didn't know exactly what I was looking at, but it had something to do with a blog. I didn't know what that was. So, but it made sense to me. And even though I didn't understand it, I went with it. And it was like $25 to start, and it was like $20 a month to be an affiliate. So I can resell the product and get a commission off of it. Pretty simple, right? But my mind, the way that it works is that I can't do two things at once. Like I can't work a job and build a business at the same time. I mean, I did it for a couple of years, but then I had to stop because I had to, there's something that's called that I learned from Eric Worre, what's called a primary and a secondary, where I always put my jobs as a primary because that was easy income and I could just show up, do the work and get paid and go home and then work on my business, which I made it as my secondary, which is a huge problem. I'm not trying to say, for all of you who have a job and trying to make this work and want to do full time on your business, I'm not trying to say quit your job and sacrifice your home or your, feeding your kids if you have any kids or paying your bills. Don't do that. What I'm saying is that you have to do a flip. Like what Eric Worre says, you got to flip your secondary to primary. I didn't know to do this. I did it automatically anyways, but I didn't know what that was. So what I did, the primary. And that's when I met Dave. That's when he taught me video marketing and getting the SAM method, right? And basically what the SAM method is you're basically doing a review on something. You give them an education, and then you say, if you also want to learn more about this, which correlates to, still making money and learning stuff, take a look at it, right? Super simple stuff. And it can work for books. It can work for, whatever industry that you're in. Say if you're in makeup or something, or if you're in health products or something like that, you can actually do reviews and say, with an honest bias, review where you say, I've actually tried this product and I've tried this product and this was my favorite. And then you can make a commission off, if you are selling a product with commission, you could do that and put it on YouTube because people want to know that kind of stuff. And it's really simple stuff. So when I learned that, that's when it took off. And then I kept it in I think that was key, is that I made that the primary. So, I didn't sacrifice anything here. Let me just go ahead and take a look at the comments real quick. Okay,
carry on, Katie.
No, I'm just looking to see if anybody had any questions. Maybe I should have known or asked. Hold on.
I'll take on your roll.
Okay. Dave says Maria's gone, so there are no questions. So, okay. So I get into this online thing and I figure this out. I make it my primary and my job is a secondary. And eventually I become financially independent and go full-time RVing with my dad, right? But it wasn't easy at all when I switched it to my primary and really focused on my business, because what had started happening was, even in the online space, exactly what happened with my 31 jobs in 17 years, in the online space, I still didn't feel like I fit in. I felt like I didn't know exactly what to do. Do I want to be an affiliate marketer for the rest of my life? No, not really. There's something that I wanted to do in order to have something bigger, right? Something that I can call my own, something that, I don't know, something that could actually, I feel like that can move mountains bigger than, you know, affiliate products or selling somebody else's product. Because I feel like, dare I say this, I felt like when I was working my jobs, my 31 jobs in 17 years, I was in a place where I was selling somebody else's product anyways. Like if I worked at an office place, you know, an Office Max or an Office Depot or something that does, you know, staples, right? So if I sold their product, you know, I felt like I was still doing the same thing when I was being an affiliate marketer. I'm like, I have all this knowledge, this skill that I've a few years that took to get, that I could put it in a package and sell it myself and call it, you know, and I can coach people. So I did that, right? So I went through this transition of not being able to fit in offline and online. And it was just, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ask in the comments right now, do you guys feel like you fit in? Like you guys are showing up here every week. I understand that. But I want to know if there's anybody out there that is feeling that they're not quite, they haven't quite gotten it yet, right? Or they're still trying to figure it out. They can go in one direction, the other direction. They can go this way or that way. They're not really sure exactly where to go. Now, maybe not know where to start. I know the comments are going to take a couple of seconds, but I really want to know if anybody's out there that's feeling kind of the same way right now. One moment. Does anybody have any questions also so far? No?
Katie, if I could ask this question about the moment, well, if I could, you know, when I talk about when I got over that hump of not getting any results to actually getting a result in my business, what was it specifically that you found worked? And I'm not just referring to the, you know, to the SAM thing, but what is it that you felt that actually worked, that got you a result, in the sense that gave you what you needed to get where you wanted to go? So, I mean, was it the fact that you had sufficient training? Was it that you had sufficient people around you? Was it, what was the thing that actually got you over that hump?
You know, I think what got me over that hump on getting that traction is knowing that I didn't want to go back to relying on a job. And the only thing that I needed was a step-by-step process, like ABC, like tell me exactly what I need it laid out in a plan, so to speak. And that's exactly what you gave me, Dave, is you gave me a plan. And what I did was I actually stalked you and I watched your videos and I repeated what you said in your videos, even though I didn't know what I was talking about at the time, which seems like that I'm not an expert, but then we're like that on any job. You have to get trained in first before you can sell a staple. I don't know. You know what I mean, right? I was a meat cutter at Sam's Club. Let's just use that for an example. I was a meat cutter. I got into that job as, what I started off with was a package person. I don't know, like a meat wrapper is what they call it. So then I got to learn all the meats before I can move on to cutting, and then before I can display the case. So then I know exactly, because here's a here's a tip for you guys who go to Sam's Club or maybe even Costco. I don't really know, but I know about this about Sam's Club. When you see the meat case, there's a specific reason why the meat is in a specific order. It goes from tender to rough. So tenderloin is the most tender steak, and chuck is the roughest steak that's just for stew. So now you know when you go to the meat counter, there's one end and it goes from tender to the roughest steak. So anyways, so I didn't know that when I got in there. I had no idea. And it's just like the online thing. I had no idea. I had to start from zero. I had to learn what everything was beyond an email, right? I had no clue what autoresponder meant. It took me a long time to figure that out. It took me a long time to figure out what marketing meant. Traffic, I thought something you get stuck in when you're going to and from work. I had no idea. I didn't know what leads meant, right? Like I thought of a detective, like you're getting a lead, you know, you get those. I didn't know what a capture page meant. I didn't know, that sandwich page meant the same thing, or whatever Pat says it. I think it's kind of funny. I didn't know any of those things, so it took me a while to get all of that figured out. Until I figured that out, I can actually put it in a flawless plan, let's just say, in a step process where I can actually confidently show people from point A to point B, from creating the content to how to get it out there, what platform to put it on, the best platform to put it on, how to capture, make a lead magnet, how to capture a squeeze page. Yeah, Robert. All the way to getting the lead, to converting the sale, and beyond, right? And beyond means having a long-term relationship, long-term buyer, all of that. But it took me years to figure that out and put all the pieces together, because it all came at, in different times and whatever. And then all of a sudden it just clicked, right? So I was putting all this information out there. By the way, Dave, that's another thing you taught me, is put information out there. Every time you learn something, you put the information out there, like either in a blog post, you put it in a video, send it to your email list, put it on social media, just a little snippet of something that you're doing. But the one thing that I wasn't doing for the longest time was telling my story, right? I'm still not good at it. I hate it. I hate talking about myself. But that's the one thing that connects you to your audience, to the people who can pretty much raise their hand and say, yeah, me too. And that is something that I think that's the ultimate goal here, is to find people who are just like you and filter out the other people that aren't, because those people that are just like you, they're going to be the long-term relationships, the long-term buyers, or, the long-term friendship, I think. So I want to encourage everybody, even though I felt like I didn't do a very good job telling my story at all today. There's like so much into my story that I had no clue how to start. I didn't have any clue where I was going to go. I didn't know what I was going to say. But that's okay, right? I'm still working on it. And there's pieces of my story that I could share, that I know that it can relate to a lot of you guys. But I don't know that yet until I share it. I organize it, I guess.
And Katie, while you were talking, the thing that comes to mind is, when you got your new phone, right? Your new phone, and you were looking at how it worked, and you were going through it to see how all the functions were working and what was different about the phone. You might have read a bit of the manual, looked a bit of it online. There are moments in our business where we have things like autoresponders, squeeze pages, systems that we need to get into. And there does take a bit of time to actually get into those systems. And you need your alone time, your figuring out time, your what I like to refer to sometimes as your crying time, when you're trying to figure stuff out, but it doesn't make sense until you actually get it. And that is the one skill set that you worked really hard at. I mean, if there's one thing I know about the fact that when Katie got onto something and she saw a result and she was trying to figure out how it exactly worked, she worked on it. You know, and there are so many people that do the same thing. I mean, I know, for instance, just to give an example, who is watching us right now, you know, I got involved with a system that Robert was also involved in. And do you know that Robert got into that? He studied it and hardly ever asked me any questions about the system because he got stuck into it. He got stuck into it, watched everything and educated himself because he was determined to make that happen. And that's the thing that you did. You owned it. Maybe you want to talk a little bit more about owning, because you take on responsibility for yourself. I mean, is that a fair statement to make?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, I was hoping you were going to say a bit more, but if that's
no, I've done. I don't know. I have nothing else to say. Honestly, I have no idea. So we can all talk together. I really don't want the floor anymore.
Does anybody else?
Oh, what, Pops?
Katie would spend hours working on stuff, trying to figure it out, and she would, not reluctantly, but she would help, ask for help occasionally from not necessarily me, but others like Dave and whomever, other leaders. She is really connected with people big time, and that's a big part of this industry, is getting connected with people, and she's an expert at getting connected with people. And so it's easy for her to really relate to the industry itself, and that's also a big part of, if you want to be in this industry, that's what you should do. But she would work so damn hard that, you know, like, I would say something and she wouldn't even hear me. She wouldn't even know I was talking, because she's so involved in trying to figure stuff out that it was just like she wasn't even there. And she did. She figured it out. She's far and away better at this stuff than I am, because I haven't had that much dedication. I'm still the affiliate marketer, MLMer, where I can use company products, but I can use the company products to my advantage. But she's gotten way beyond that because of her tenacity and her desire to be able to help other people.
Yeah,
no, I'm not saying that there's, sorry, Dave, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, and I'm sure Pops is saying this too, there's nothing wrong with being an affiliate marketer and selling other people's product. It's just not for me. I mean, I'll still do that because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. If I have something a tool that really works and I can make a commission off of it, why not? Right? So it's like, I referred somebody to this or that, but what Pops was, you just reminded me of something, Pops, is that I'm really good at connecting people. And if there's something that I don't know, I know someone who might, because I've connected with a crap load of people that have made a lot more money than me, or know something that I don't know, or something like that, where, right? So what were you going to say, Dave?
What I wanted to say is that, you know, just to give it a good example of what Katie's actually done, and because she might not speak about this, but, you know, I got her involved with this thing called what's it called? Optimized Press. Now, Optimized Press is something I've been using for years, and I've learned it over the years, and I've come to know it really well, so I can use it very quickly. Something I use for, you know, for blogging, for making websites, for everything. I do a whole bunch of stuff. What you're watching right now is actually something developed by Optimized Press. and Katie started using optimized press. And here's the interesting thing, and it's the same type of work ethic that follows with people that actually want to get things done, who are actually going to get a result in their business. Is that once I actually got Katie into it, and I was just telling Katie a little bit about it, Katie never even, hardly ever reached out to me, because she was trying to work out that tool, trying to work out that little bit tool, because what she was doing was that she was watching videos, she was watching tutorials, she was trying to get it done because she was owning it and making part of it her own business. She wasn't saying, I don't know how to do this, can you please do this for me? You know, there are people in this industry that will actually say, could you please log into my system so that I can sit back and do nothing while you do everything for me? And it may seem like that person, or Katie's trying to help that person, but it's actually the biggest disservice you can do for anybody in this industry is to do the work for them. And that's why I am more than willing to guide anybody in any direction and point them in the right direction, but I am not going to do the work for them. Because ultimately, it comes down to the fact that you need to own this. And once you realize that you own this, that you actually have it, and that nobody else is responsible for it but yourself, that's when you start getting results. It's the same thing for people that are passionate about what they are doing. I know Jamie loves computers, and I can guarantee you that he is a self-taught man. You know, very few people start out in life going, you know what, I think I want to go into IT. And so they go and study computer science, right? And they spend 3 years in computer science, but they really have no understanding about computers. You put a computer in front of them, and all they can tell you to do is go to the start menu and maybe empty something in recycle bin. But Jamie is passionate about what he loves. And so when he does something, he is passionate about what he does. So he gets into it. He finds out the interesting parts, the boring parts, the things that people will never listen to, and he takes hold of that. And that's exactly what Katie does. This is exactly what I do, because I'm also an IT guy. I pull PCs apart myself. Hell, I've turned a PC into a Mac. I've done it. I know how to do it because it was something that really interests me. So I can do that. I've done many things because it's my passion. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that you need to enjoy what you do. You know, if you're in this industry and you don't enjoy what you do, it's going to be a struggle from day one. You enjoy what you do. And I know that Katie loves to interact with people. It's just who she is. She cannot stay away from Facebook for longer than 5 minutes. She has to find out what's going on. She has to discipline herself to say, you know what, 6 minutes and I'm just going to relax a bit. And I'm not going to go on for an extra 6 minutes. On the 7th minute, then I'm going to jump on. But my point is that it's her passion. She really enjoys what she does. And a lot of us get so inspired by that, saying, gee, I want to do what Katie does. How does she interact with people on Facebook so much? But this is the problem. You're trying to be like Katie, or you're trying to be like Jamie, or you're trying to be like Pops, or you're trying to be like me. You need to find your passion. You need to find what it is that you are interested in. But it comes at a price. So it's not always easy sailing. You've got to figure stuff out for yourself, and you've just got to overcome that by getting yourself in the right mindset. You know what? If I want to get to that end result, and I've spoken about this many times I've said this, that I have a vision that in a few more years' time, in fact, in about 2 to 3 years' time, I am going to go on and do my full-time youth work, when I'm going to buy a place and I'm going to do youth work with kids. That's what I love to do. That's my ultimate passion. And the reason I do what I do is because I want to get to where I want to. Part of the reason I started out was because I knew that if I carried on where I was in my situation, that in 10 years later, I'd be in the exact same position, probably a couple of steps backward. But I was so scared, I was so frightened, and I was so afraid that if I didn't take any action, I wasn't going to get anywhere. And that's the thing where that pushes you forward. And that's why she is where she is today, and why she can go around the United States of America, touring with her dad, doing this amazing thing, going where she wants to go.
And you know, it's funny that you say that, Dave, because I honestly, if I think about it, I have no idea how I got here, except I know that I can show people the steps on how to get started, what to do to get leads, and what and all that stuff. But when it comes to telling my story, like I told you before, it's like I get really uncomfortable. I don't know exactly how to do it, but I know how to show people how to go from A to B to C or whatever, right? So this is what I'm doing for 2018, is that I'm doing less Facebook. I know it's something crazy. Even though that's the number one place where I make my connections with people, but that's okay. I've down it to 2 times a day. Okay. Where I do all my, right, Dave, where I get, you know, I do my thing, right? I can condense it into like a 30-minute or 60-minute, depending, right? You know, I get connection, I talk to people, I catch up with people, I do some follow-ups, and I make connections, make relationships, and all this other stuff. And I go down to 2 times a day because I realized that I was spending a lot of time on Facebook. And even though I was doing all the other stuff as well, I wasn't giving myself me time. And that was important. I was literally working around the clock all the time, because that's what I did when I was working my 31 jobs in 17 years. It was just what I do. It's when I have my something to, you know, that I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to be doing it until it's done. And what's so bittersweet with this industry, because you're never done. Never done. And that's when I realized in 2017, another thing that I learned, a really good lesson, is that I don't need to create this A+ work, and I should be okay with B- work, because it's going out there and it's getting it done. And I know there's a lot of people, I know a lot of you guys are getting stuck on making it perfect before you make it go out there, and it shouldn't be like that. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm really glad you brought that up, Dave, because it kind of reminded me that my next step is telling more of my story. Because I'm going to tell you right now, like I said, I've been on Facebook a lot. And if I could tell you, of all the people that are out there that I'm connecting with, the ones who make it huge are the ones who tell their story. And the ones who are mediocre, or maybe they don't quite make it yet, or it takes longer, what they're doing is that they're sharing motivational quotes, or they're saying a little snippet. Like right now, Facebook they've had this thing where you can write, I don't remember how many characters it is, but it's big. It makes it big, bold letters, so it's really cool. It sticks out, and you can do a background or whatever. But people are fitting their story or their motivation in just this little post. And they're not telling them about themselves. They're not telling why they're sharing it and why they're saying these things and what's the point, right? So that's my 2018, is that I'm going to share more about why I'm sharing this piece of information, because I had a lesson that I learned from here, or this reminded me of this, or whatever. And I think that's what's so key about what's missing in a lot of these, a lot of me, is you guys don't know a lot of me. You know a little bit, but not a lot. Like, did you know I'm not diagnosed, but I've come to the conclusion that I have ADHD and dyslexia. And I have a hell of a great time, and you guys don't even know it. And I've worked around it all my life, and it's fun. And it's, you know, pardon me. Now I'm getting dry throat, because now I all of a sudden can't shut up. Somebody say something. I need some water.
How are you doing fine, Kati? Jamie, you want to say something?
Oh, I think that's what I have a problem with, is telling my story. I never. I always thought somebody'd make fun of me if I told my story, so I always kept it bottled up. You know, so I think that's why I invested in this life coaching course, because you know, that's what I'm in the section I'm at right now is all about finding out more about you. And that's what people don't understand. You know, it's not all about selling your products and your services and stuff. It's find out more about you, what makes you tick, what drives you. And a lot of people don't worry about that, and they don't worry about mindset training. And, you know, those are the things that you're here to find out. You know, why are you here? You know, what do you stand for? And what's your purpose? You know, and a lot of people don't want to try to find that out, but that's our life goal basically, is to find out why we're here. You know, we're here putting God's eyes on this planet for a reason. It's up to us to find out what that reason is, because we all have a purpose for being here. And God's not going to reveal our secret of why he put us here. It's up to us to find out why we're here. So that's my opinion.
I appreciate that. Yep. And,
Kati,
yes.
I was going to say, Kati, we appreciate you sharing with us your life. We understand that it is all over the place, but that's part of who you are. That's part of who you are. I mean, that is something that you need to embrace. And I want everybody to understand that everybody has a different story, and everybody needs to be able to share with somebody else. And right now, you may not know it, but right now you are writing your own story as you are progressing in your business. And it's very important that people understand where you come from. So I would encourage everybody who is watching, and for those of you who are watching the replay, to make sure that you start in your online journey to tell people who you are. Tell them about who you are and the successes that you've had and what's brought you to this moment, and be honest about it. You know, you don't have to tell people about your failures and go into that. All right. You can talk about your successes when you get them. As you grow in your business, as you grow in who you are, when you get your first lead, when you get your first sale, when you get your first blog post up, when you get your first view up, you know, you can share that with people and they can see your progression. I actually knew of a guy who was so completely honest about his business. He just flat out told everybody, hey guys, I've had no experience. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I just got in contact with somebody to show me what to do, and I just wanted to share this journey with you. And he was that dead honest. Where is he now? Right now, he is selling multiple products online. You guys know him. His name is Aidan Corkery, and he's a guy from Ireland, and he's doing great online because he is consistently telling his story as he progresses in his business, and that's an amazing thing. All right, your story is your power, and where there is value, decisions are clear. I don't know if you guys got hold of my post when I made that post about when value is clear, decisions are easy. And that was actually shared by Walt Disney's brother. He shared that with the world. And that is true. When your value is clear, decisions are easy for other people. So the whole idea is to just keep practicing and keep telling it. And so that's what I have to share today. But what I want to say before we leave, and I want to share this from the very beginning, is that I did something crazy. Who wants to hear what I did? I did something so unbelievably amazing today. I was so proud of myself because who wants to hear, first of all? Who wants to hear? I know everybody here has seen it, but who wants to hear?
You take a nap? Is that what that was? You actually slept?
Oh my gosh.
Mr. 24-hour marketer?
No 24 marketer. I slept for a full 4 hours yesterday. It was a full 4 hours. And but I made something called, okay, cool. Thanks, Robert. So I'll share my screen and I'll just show you a picture of what I did. Can everybody see this picture when I share it?
Wait for it.
See?
Okay.
Can you?
Looks like hostess pies.
Wow, looks delicious.
Those are meat pies. All right. Now, I know that in America, meat pies aren't that common, although you say that you do have meat pies somewhere there, or do you have them?
Mincemeat pies?
No, not mince pies. I'm not talking about the sweet pies. I'm talking about savory beef. This is
They're
maybe
not-
soft shin, and I'm
They're
Yeah.
not common, Dave.
okay. They're not one, yeah, because you guys get your banana pies and your apple pies and your cherry pies and your pumpkin pie. I'm like, pumpkin pie? What are you, insane? There's no way. I mean, I'm sure I'd like it if I tasted it, but we have meat pies, and I got one here to show you just the size of it, so you can see. It's a meat pie, and man alive, that's a meal on a plate. Called a Cornish pasty, and I made this today. I bought all the ingredients. I went and I bought the most expensive ingredients I could because I wanted to make it delicious. And oh my gosh, when I die, I'm going to Cornish pasty. It is amazing, and it's fighting with fat burger. I can tell you that much. So, but my point is that if you want to do something amazing, like make yourself a meat pie, go ahead, get the ingredients, go do the research, follow instructions, and you can actually get a result. And your first one is always going to come out terrible, but your second one may be even better. And this is my third attempt, well, my third or fourth attempt, and I'm getting better as the time goes on. And I want to say, guys, that if you're in this industry, results, you've got to keep on working at it. You've got to keep on molding that metal. You've got to keep on. You know, when you try to make swords or katana swords, you've got to heat that metal up to 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. You've got to keep hitting that metal in order for it to bend, in order for it to mold, in order for it to sharpen. And the problem is that most people are operating at a couple of hundred degrees. They're just operating at a couple of hundred degrees, and they're just banging and banging and banging, and nothing's happening. The problem is that your passion needs to be up there, and you need to be desperate. You need to be in a position where you're saying, I have absolutely had enough, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. And do what Kati does. Get on it and work on hours upon hours on her business so she can get a result. The same thing applied to me. If you heard Pat's story on Wednesday, he went through a traumatic experience where his whole career was taken away from him. His whole career was taken away from him. The scare that he had on his life, he didn't want to guard a pole and say, stop, or I'll yell and say, stop again. He didn't want to be in that position. To make a huge difference in his life. Sometimes we just need to get in a place where you're thinking and say, you know what? Do I want to be in a position where I am in a job that I hate? I'm in a situation that absolutely just brings me down. And you look at Kati, 31 jobs in 17 years. She wants to go ahead and do what she wants to do. And look at her now. She's touring the United States, doing what she loves. She's operating at 2,500 degrees. You gotta heat that furnace. You gotta get it up to a degree where you are bending metal, where you are forging metal, and you are changing the direction of your life. So make a difference. Step outside your comfort zone. Get uncomfortable. Change your peer group. Start making a difference. Over prepare. Get into situations where you're not 100% comfortable. When I want to advise people who are smarter than me to give me advice so I feel scared, I start jumping out of my own skin. I start saying, whoa, that is some horrific stuff I got to change in my life. Or are you just listening to the people that are patting you on the head and saying, good boy, good girl, just keep doing what you're doing and making you feel great? You've got to scare yourself to death. With that being said, I want to over to Pops for any last words before we close this out. Pops, you want to say anything?
Let me read a short story, very short one. It's called It's Not My Job. It's a story about 4 people named everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. In the end, everybody blamed somebody when nobody did it, and everybody knew that could have done it. We all have a job to do, and we all know what we have to do. So just do it. Remember that you point a finger and there's 4 other ones coming back at you. So if you really want what you want, it's up to you to do it, because nobody, anybody, or somebody's not going to be able to do it for you. Have a great week.
I love that, Pops. I love that advice. That's dead on the money. I can remember a situation in South Africa where we had the telephone, the power had gone out. And you know that everybody in our street said, don't worry, somebody else will call the electric department. Everybody said that until the weekend was over and somebody said, I thought somebody did. And nobody had called because everybody thought somebody else was doing it. That's great advice, man. Jamie?
I don't know. How can I top that? Yeah. That's why we call Pops our wisdom keeper, because he's always full of wisdom. But I got a little quote I'll read for you. It says, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines that are practiced every day. And that's by Jim Rohn.
Thanks, Jamie. And the lady of the hour, Miss Katie Stage.
I have to still talk. I'm kidding. Okay, so something that I actually learned about today is that is even though I felt like I didn't do a very good job telling my story, yes, it is my story. I have to own that story because it is my story. I just wanted to tell you that you don't have to be perfect in this industry because you're all here. We've known each other for how long? And if there's something here that you feel like you're missing or something that you're just not quite getting, that we're here for you. You don't have to be perfect. I mean, look at me. How the hell did I get here? I didn't even tell hardly at all my story, but I could tell people where to go from A, B, C, D. I just love that. That's the German part of me where I just got to have the steps A, B, C, and how to get there. I could even get someone's idea out of their head and turn it into practically a business where they can actually make money off of it, right? Not a promise, but I can at least show them. But when it comes to telling my story, my introvertness, if that's even a word, I have no idea. It comes out and or comes in, is I feel like I'm just charged. I need to go recharge. I have to go crawl in a hole and just recharge and just kind of, that's just the way I am. It's just how I've been written or something or whatever you want to call it. But it's something that I have to overcome myself personally because I want to. And that's what has been so fascinating about this industry is that it always puts the challenge on me to stretch a little bit and grow and become something bigger than I don't know what it is. It's just amazing. It's something that I could never find in 31 jobs in 17 years. If you've been there and you feel like you've just like a wandering generality, you know what I mean? It's like you want to become a meaningful, specific, blah, 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 just like Zig Ziglar says, is that try this on, right? Because it pushes you. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to go crawl in a hole now. Thanks.
Katie, don't crawl in a hole. We'll miss you too much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we want you to be back here same time next week because we're going to be hearing Pops' story. And for those of you who don't know who Pops is, he's going to be sharing all of that with you next week. And we'll see him. We'll see you same time next week. Don't forget Wisdom Wednesday on Wednesday. And, that's going to be interesting because we're going to be hearing Dr. Wade's story. It's going to be very interesting. And then, of course, don't forget Jamie's Hangout on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Also, Sonia and Maria on Tuesday I keep forgetting what time it is. Is it 10?
I think it's 11 Eastern or something. I think it's 11 Eastern.
4.
All right. Okay.
Is it 4?
4 p.m. Eastern. I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern. Well, I could be completely wrong, but I'm sure Merritt will share it with in the actual comment.
Oh yeah, I was in Pacific time.
Oh goodness me! All right,
I get lost. I get lost where I'm at sometimes. You know, I just don't know where the hell I'm at.
Time after time. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us. You have a great week and an amazing weekend. Cheers.